Sahana vavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Since last 2 evenings, we've been talking about relevance of the Bhagavad Gita in our day-to-day life. How Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to live happily, how to make our life a process of gaining happiness and success, which is what every human being wants. And we made a point that happiness or success that we are seeking is to be really discovered from our own self. There are 2 things in our life. One is comfort, other is happiness. So what the material achievements can give us, the wealth and power and the fame, are more comfort rather than a sustained, lasting happiness. Because unfortunately, more of those things you get, more hungry you become. Meaning that they create more hunger for power, more hunger for wealth, more hunger for fame. And therefore, if that is our goal, which in the scripture, artha and kama. Artha means the self-gratification, ego gratification, name, fame, power, wealth. Kama means the sense gratification. If that is the goal of life, one can never expect to be a happy person. Or one can never have a sense of being a successful person. Even though the world may call me a successful person. Because the world has its own criteria of judging what success is. But it is not important that the world calls me a successful person. What is important is whether I call myself a successful person. We made this point that what is most important in our life is not validation by others, which is what we are always seeking. Approval by others, which is what again we are seeking. It is really approval of my own self. When I validate myself, when I approve of myself, when I accept myself, when ultimately I love myself, that is the real sign of happiness and success. If this is understood, then what Bhagavad Gita teaches becomes relevant to us. If happiness is to be discovered from myself, if success is to be discovered from myself, then all I need to do is to uncover what is already there. Then it is no more a process of achieving what is not there, but the achievement of what is already there. Sounds very strange. How can there be achievement of what is already achieved? Sounds very strange. If it is already achieved, then it should be achieved. But sometimes it happens. I find myself searching for a bunch of keys. Look for it everywhere. And finally, either I myself discover, or somebody points out that Swami, the key bunch is already with you. It is not unusual that I am searching for my own glasses. When I am wearing the glasses, I am still searching for them. And once upon a time, an old lady was searching for her denture, which was already wearing. It is not unusual that we find ourselves sometimes looking for something that we already have, but we do not know that we have it. That's what Vedanta teaches. It is a case of not knowing what we have, the treasure that we have. Upanishad says that look at this farmer. He's tilling his land and moving from one end to the other, not realizing that there is a great treasure buried underneath, but doesn't know, he's walking over it every day. And similarly also, Vedanta points out that there is a great treasure buried underneath. Meaning the treasure that we are seeking outside already is buried here, and we have to unveil it. We have to bring to manifestation. So then, if this is understood, then life no more remains a process of achieving what is not achieved. It becomes a process of owning up what is already there. Bring to manifestation what is. If that is so, then what we said yesterday, that there are two processes in our life. While we perform any action, when we do anything, when we are relating to the world, interacting with the world, every moment, there are two choices. Upanishad calls them the choices between Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas is that which gives us lasting good. Preyas is that which appears very attractive and tempting, but which only gives us a false notion of goodness. To translate that in our day-to-day life, in every situation, I have the option, as you said yesterday, of being a grabber versus being a giver. A consumer versus being a contributor. A yogi versus being a bhogi. These two choices are there for the human being. And the free will which we have been provided is to be properly used for making this choice. We can of course make choice between orange and apple. But in this medical school another one, this job and that job, those choices are all right. There are more preferences than choices. The real choice that affects our life and our well-being and our success is this choice as to whether we have the attitude of being a giver or a grabber. And when we start, we said yesterday, each one of us possesses these three things: time, talent, and treasure. And this is what we can always offer. So Lord Krishna teaches that may the life of a human being become a process of offering, self-offering. But Swami, how can I offer? What do I have? I have nothing with me. How can I offer? We have plenty, we have time, we have talent. If nothing else, we can always offer our kindness. We can always offer our goodwill. good wishes. Nobody prevents me from being a kind person. Nobody prevents me from being a well-wisher of others. If nothing else, if I cannot do anything, I can always perform this simple prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. But everybody be happy. A genuine, meaning that a genuine goodwill, a genuine sense of being an offerer. Lord Krishna calls this process yajna. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna uses the word yajna. Yajna, of course, we know as the fire ritual in which offerings are made to different devatas. How can our life become a yajna when every action that we perform also becomes like an offering to the devata? Which devata? Ishvara, Bhagavan. Or whatever your idea of devata is. Everybody is not much excited about Ishvara and Bhagavan. But different people have different causes. Some people believe in social service. Some believe in serving the country. Somebody has a passion for environment. Some kind of a cause. Meaning that a cause greater than simply satisfying my ego. Something greater than that. Meaning that there should be in our life place for the beings, things and beings other than myself. This is stretch your ego. Include others. Meaning that may your actions not merely be dedicated to self-gratification, but may there be also an attitude of being helpful to others. Because that is how the whole universe is functioning. The fact that there is harmony in the whole universe is because the whole universe is interconnected by this attitude of helping. Upanishad calls it helping upakara. In Sanskrit there is a word upakara, means helping others. The whole universe is created and is functioning around this attitude that everything that comprises this universe, sentient or insentient being, whatever there is, all of that is so created that it always makes an offering to the entire universe. As the Sanskrit verse says, Paropakaraya vahanti nadyah, Paropakaraya vibhati surya, Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha. So this poet points out that look, the rivers flow simply for paropakara, simply for serving the others. The river doesn't make any demand upon us, it's just available totally to others. Paropakaraya vibhati surya. Look, the sun shines, asking for no return. Over itself provides light and energy to the whole universe. Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha. Look at the trees. They bear fruits, again simply for offering, because trees never eat their fruits. River never drinks its water. Thus all the elements of nature, they are designed, so whole universe is created around this beautiful principle. That's what the Vedas point out. That the principle of upakaraka, upakarya. Upakaraka, one that helps. Upakarya, one that is helped. Everything helps others and everything in turn is helped by others. That's how this whole spirit of cooperation is there in the universe, and that is what maintains the harmony in the universe. Even though the biologists tell us the survival of the fittest and the competition and stuff, this is what they teach us. Unfortunately, the human being also adopted that principle of survival of the fittest. And grabbing more and more, competing. This is what lesson they learn from nature. But Upanishads teach a different lesson. Upanishads say that in nature you find the spirit of cooperation and not competition. The sun does not compete with moon and moon does not compete with stars. When its time is over, the sun withdraws and gives its place to the moon. When its time comes, moon sets, gives its place to the stars. When their time comes, stars go away, give their place to the lightning. If the sun keeps on shining, then these fellows will have no opportunity. But they all, when their time comes, they depart and make room for others. Not a human being. If there was, formerly in United States there was no rule that a person can be president only for 2 terms. Now it is there. Formerly it was not always there. It came sometime later. There was one president who was there for a number of years. I don't remember his name, 20, 30 years. Huh? Roosevelt. Yeah. Give them the chance, they will never go. They will never surrender their chair. They will never do that. Unfortunately, human being is an exception to this. That's the problem. We have the possibility of being a contributor. But there are certain things within us which make us consumers. We are also natural givers. But there is something within us which make us grabbers, which is unnatural for us. This grabbing, this competing, this advancing at the cost of others is not natural to us. Our heart, in fact, does not like it. What the heart likes is to be able to take others along with me, to help others. That spirit is there within ourselves. But there are some inhibiting factors within us. Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Here, what is swadharma? Lord Krishna says that being an offerer, a contributor, a giver is swadharma. In every situation, to bring about a spirit of being useful to others, being a contributor to others is swadharma. Then Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, all the duties, etc., they come. But within that, even in the concept of duty, always the attitude of being a giver. We know in our day-to-day life that when we perform duty, for example, when children perform duty towards their parents, in duty, there is one simple principle. If I am duty bound to you, then your need becomes more important than my need. So when I am duty bound to you, I have duty towards you, then I should fulfill your need, even if it means that I should let go of my need. We always know that. When parents, for example, feel it is their duty towards their children, they let go their needs and satisfy needs of the children. Then they are the givers, children are the receivers. When they grow up, ideally they should become givers when parents become receivers. Point is that this idea upakara, upakarya, upakaraka. Helper and helped. So that is the spirit around which if the universe is, and if we adopt that spirit in our life, there would be cooperation and not competition. Then there is harmony. There is no stress. In competition, there is stress. In grabbing, there is stress. In giving, there is no stress. If there is a limited resource and everyone to grab, there is competition, stress. Not only that, but the same brings about jealousies. All our, in fact, that system, this system that we have right now, brings out the worst in us, brings about the aggressive self, the greedy self, the insensitive self, the one that wants to go ahead at the cost of others, a violent self. There is no violence in nature. There is non-violence in nature. And that is why the nature functions in a harmonious way. Our body also functions in a harmonious way, where all the limbs and organs of the body, they all function in the spirit of cooperation, not competition. This is called yajna. This spirit of cooperation is called yajna. And Lord Krishna says, look, the whole universe functions around the spirit of yajna. Therefore, you should also have that spirit. That's called swadharma. That is the dharma, the right thing to do for a human being. For what? Lord Krishna tells a story in the Gita that when human beings were created, this spirit of cooperation or yajna also was created. And then the Creator told human beings that may you prosper with this. May the spirit of yajna or cooperation, may you fulfill all your desires through that. May it become the wish-fulfilling cow. You must have heard of wish-fulfilling cow, Kamadhenu. Fulfills all your desires. Whether such a cow was there or not, we do not know, but these are beautiful concepts we have, like wish-fulfilling tree, wish-fulfilling creeper, wish-fulfilling cow, wish-fulfilling jewel. Human being always wants his wishes to be fulfilled. So this, but then, Yeshavostishtra kamaduk, in Bhagavad Gita said that, may the spirit of yajna or cooperation or contribution or helping, may that fulfill all your desires. So we may think that Bhagavad Gita only talks about spiritual growth, but Bhagavad Gita also talks about material growth. Even all your material desires will also be fulfilled. Shreyah param avapsyatha, you attain whatever best you want with this. If you have material wealth, you will get that. Spiritual wealth, you will get that also. This is called swadharma. Shreyan swadharma viguna. Always we are sometimes afraid. What will happen to me? If I become a giver like this, what will happen to me? Lord Krishna says, then what is the other dharma? Paradharma is becoming a grabber. Two dharmas are there. One is a giver, other is grabber. What is swadharma? My dharma, being a giver. What is paradharma? Is grabber. Two dharmas are there. Giver versus grabber. Usually becoming a grabber looks very tempting. Because I think I can get more and more and become wealthier and happier. Lord Krishna says, Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharmat Swanushthitat. Even if you cannot perform your dharma of being giver very well, that's better than performing your dharma of a grabber very well. Because it is very tempting. So Arjuna asked this question, what is it that prevents me from being a giver? Why? Basically, as we said yesterday, that kindness is our nature and therefore we feel very happy whenever we are able to be a kind person. One act of kindness gives me an inner satisfaction. If this is so, then why is the human being, why does it become cruel? If I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me, I do not want others to hurt me and therefore I should not hurt them also. But why do I hurt them? I want other people to be honest to me and therefore I know that I should be honest to them. But why do I become dishonest? This question arose in Arjuna's mind. That Lord, you say that Swadharma, my own dharma is to be a kind person, to be a generous person, to be an offerer, to be a giver, to be a contributor. That is my dharma. And I love that. Whenever we are able to contribute, whenever we are being able to be kind, we feel happy about ourselves. If I hurt you and grab something for you momentarily, something, I may get some kind of satisfaction. Later on I feel there is a sense of guilt in me that I have done something wrong. Then why do I do that? Why does a human being do this? Because human being is the only one who violates values. Nobody else in the nature violates values. The whole universe functions around dharma or the values. And basic value is being cooperative, being a giver, being a helper. That's the basic value. And that alone is non-violence. Because non-violence is not just not violating others, but helping others. We think that non-violence is merely a static value of not hurting others. But in fact, real non-violence is when I help others. This universe functions around the value of non-violence. So Arjuna says, why? Why is a human being a violent creature? There is a zoo in New York City where when you enter that zoo, a question is asked, who is the most cruel creature in the world? That's a question. You may think that tiger is most cruel, or lion is most cruel, or things like that, Then answer is given. Who is the most cruel creature in the world? You know what is the answer? A mirror is the answer. The one you are looking at is the cruelest one. Meaning, the human being is the most cruel creature. Even a tiger is not cruel. Tiger simply preys for appeasing its hunger. It does not go around on a killing spree, Like a human being can take a gun and go on a killing spree, shooting spree, stabbing sprees. You don't find that in nature. That a lion decides that I'm going to finish everybody off. No. And this is how they are designed, because they need their food, therefore nature has provided for their food. They take what they need, no more than that. The tiger doesn't have a freezer, for future that I will save my food, etc. They don't have that. Because they are totally dependent upon nature. They seem to be surrendered to nature. And they seem to be sure that nature will give them what they need. Only we are not sure. We don't trust. Because, so what is it that makes human being what he is? Whereas divinity is my nature, then there is also this kind of demoniac nature. So both the fellows are there within me. A divine self also is there, and a demoniac self also is there. Meaning that a kind person also is there within me. A loving, kind, beautiful, good person is within me. But at the same time, a cruel and greedy and aggressive fellow also is within me. So Devata also is there and Danava also is there. The divine also is there and demoniac also is there. This is unfortunately the human being. And whenever this demoniac tendency takes over me, I become a demon. Only human being can act as a Rakshasa. Nobody acts as a Rakshasa. Human being alone can rape. Nobody else does it. He kills. He does this, he becomes a Rakshasa. When the Rakshasi vritti, the demoniac, tendency takes over him. So this is what Arjuna asks. Why does a human being violate his own values? Everybody loves to be a kind person, let me tell you. Even a cruel person also loves to be a kind person. And kindness is the essential nature even of a cruel person. There are moments when that kindness becomes evident even in a cruel person. There are very few moments. When he sees his own little child, when he sees some near and dear one, that time you can see that person also is very kind. Where did it come from? Because it's there. It's buried underneath. Normally his cruelty alone becomes manifest and we think there's a cruel person. So we call him a criminal, call him a terrorist, call him cruel. But is cruelty really the nature of a person? Is criminality really a nature of the person? We are not really concerned about them. I am just asking this question, a theoretical question. We are concerned about ourselves. So we are not here to reform the whole world and do things, but to understand the real nature of a human being. That there is no such, our Swami used to say, there is no such entity as a criminal. There is no criminal, means criminality is not his nature. What you call criminal also, his nature is only kindness. Then why does he act like a criminal? So at one point, Shankaracharya explains, gives the example of a piece of sandalwood. Sandalwood is fragrant by nature. But that piece of sandalwood, if kept in water for a couple of days, it starts stinking. You have to try that. Some of you may have that experience that if sandalwood remains in contact with water for a length of time, its outer surface rots and starts stinking. So you have a stinking piece of sandalwood. So you think that stink is the nature of this piece of wood, but it is not. What you need to do is to only rub that piece of sandalwood with a stone. When the outer surface is rubbed off, then the fragrance, which is the nature of sandalwood, becomes manifest. So fragrance remains the inherent nature of sandalwood, but then momentarily that is inhibited by the outer stink. Similarly also, fragrance or goodness remains our nature. Is inhibited by the momentary cruelty and greed, etc. So this is what Arjuna asks. Arjuna is a very sincere person. He wants to be what Lord Krishna is teaching. And he has a genuine difficulty. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charadi purusha anichanna vivarshanaya baladiva niyojita. O Lord, what is it that compels that person to act against his own nature, to perform an act which we call sinful act, or which violates own? What makes a person violate his own values? Meaning there is something inside me which is what compels me to go against my own nature. Like the famous statement of Duryodhana, who said, or who is said to have said, Janami dharmam nachame pravrutti, janami adharmam nachame nivrutti. Duryodhana says, Janami dharmam. I know what dharma is, I know what righteousness is. Nachame pravrutti. But somehow I am not able to bring it out in my behavior. I cannot adopt it. Janami adharma, I know what adharma is, but I cannot give it up. Can you believe that? Duryodhana says, I know what dharma is, but I cannot act according to dharma. I know what adharma is, but I cannot give it up. Why is it so? Kenapi devena hrudisthitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. There is someone sitting within my heart, and I act as compelled by that entity sitting in my heart. A demon is sitting in my heart, and that demon or asura compels me to act the way I do. You know what it means? It means that Duryodhana is a helpless person. Can you imagine? Such a powerful person, but otherwise helpless. Meaning that what Bhagavad Gita teaches is that goodness is our inherent nature. If we are evil, then it is helplessness because of which we are violating the value. Meaning that if I tell a lie, it is not willingly that I tell the lie, it is helplessly that I do. If I hurt somebody, it is not willingly that I hurt, it is helplessly that I hurt. No, Swamiji, what do you know? You don't know this word. People are hurting. People, they have the cold-blooded murder. This person has been planning the murder for last 6 months. Somebody like Kennedy is assassinated. Well, that assassination must have taken a long time to plan, isn't it so? 6 months, I don't know. So, Swamiji, who says that people don't do it willingly? They willingly kill. Is it not so? When somebody kills another person, is it not willingly? Yes and no. Looks like he willingly does, but not really. But Swamiji, it's not that he is acting out of an impulse. This is a premeditated action, premeditated murder. It is not on the spur of the moment. But it is that evil that made him meditate for 6 months for killing that person. Even that also, he is not doing himself. Somebody makes him do that. So this is a very important thing for us to understand. Only when we understand this that we will have sympathy for other people. Otherwise we hate other people. Those who do not follow our values, we hate them. Hate the criminals, hate the terrorists, forget about terrorists. Even our own people around us also who do not follow our values, we dislike them. So he tells lies. He's like this, he's like that. But if you understand that all those undesirable behaviors are not because the person wants to be like that, but there is something with that person that compels the person to be like that. Person helplessly like that, then we will be able to have sympathy for that person. This is called a value of kshama. Kshama means forgiveness. It is a very important value for all our relationships. Because as human beings, we are constantly related to the world. And usually the world does not cause any problems to us. The only entity that causes problem is a human being. We have problems only with human beings. We don't have problem with dogs and cats and sun and moon. Do you have any problems with them? No. We have only problems with what? Human beings. Because they alone can violate the values. And that is why our relationships, that moment we find some behavioral pattern in somebody which in our opinion is not acceptable, we reject that person. So we reject the people, we dislike the people. Our likes and dislikes are basically centered around other human beings. And this is what in fact becomes a major problem in our relationships, in our happiness. So relationship also is a very important aspect in our life. Because we cannot avoid relating to the world. And we cannot avoid relating with other human beings also. Even if we go away from here, they come with us. Our Swami used to say that this man is traveling in a train with one ticket. Along with him, 10 other fellows are traveling without tickets. His mother-in-law, his brother-in-law, his son-in-law, his this one. They all go with him. Meaning that even if we physically create a distance, in the mind we remain related with people anyway, and therefore they continue to affect our mind. Therefore, a very important value in relating to other human beings, and particularly those who are close to us. Again, the people who matter to us most are the people who are closely related. People who cause us most unhappiness is people who are closely related to us. More close a person is, more possibility of that person making me unhappy. Isn't that very ironical? You would think that when a person is closely related to you, we should make them happy. They can make us happy also, and they can make us equally unhappy. But if you sit down and make a list of who are the fellows who are problems in my life and who are creating all these agitations in my mind, the first fellow who will come, person will come, is the one most closely related. Generally, I am not saying that it has to be, but generally. Because more closely a person is related, more expectations I have of that person, of what that person should do and should not do. And more expectations I have, more is the possibility that my expectation will not be fulfilled. And when my expectation is not fulfilled, I get upset. So most of our pain comes from unfulfilled expectations. Unfortunately, it is our nature to expect. Swamiji, that is how life is. We have to expect. We expect from other people. what they should do and what they should not do. And when they fail to fulfill the expectation, we get upset, we get angry. And closer a person is, more the expectations are. And therefore, more the possibility that that person will be the cause of my unhappiness. Doesn't have to be, but it's likely. Therefore, we have to remember this. What is the inherent nature of human being? Inherent nature of human being is, every human being is a kind, loving and beautiful person. Everyone. Even what we call a criminal or a terrorist or whatever is also a kind, loving and beautiful person. Then why do they behave just in opposite manner? Helplessly. So if we recognize this fact and can create a distance between the person and the behavior of the person. Behavior is one thing and person is another thing. Behavior is a cruel person. The reality is that he is a kind person. A kind person behaving in a cruel manner. A good person behaving in an evil manner. Which one should we give reality? Should kindness be given the importance or the superficial? One is superficial, other is inherent. Like in case of the sandalwood, the inherent is the fragrance, the stink is superficial. Similarly also in other person, all we find objectionable to us is what? Superficial. And what we like to see in that person is all there. This is inherent. If this reality is understood, then it will be possible for us to invoke from us a kind person. Even though the other person is behaving in an unkind manner, still we can invoke from ourselves kindness. We said yesterday, one act of kindness. In fact, we don't have to go anywhere our family is enough. That's why we can start. The charity begins at home. And let us begin with the closest person. The spouse is the closest person. Let us start charity there. Let us start being kind there. By giving the benefit of doubt. You know what happens is we know too much about this person because we've been living together and I know Swamiji, I know this person. But Vedanta says it differently. You do not know that person. That person is a kind, loving, beautiful person. Swami, that is so with other fellows, not with me. Okay. That's also our complaint. This person always behaves well with others. When it comes to me, I don't know. And therefore reminding myself that when this person, how kind this person is with others, that is the true nature. And I bring that in my mind. That is the inherent nature of this person. This fragrance is inherent nature of this person. Not stinking. Even though I am the beneficiary of all the stink, sometimes that is our prarabdha. Prarabdha means destiny. That we become the beneficiary of all the stink. But still, that fragrance is inherently there. Our Swami used to talk about a two-step response. One step response is, that person shows cruelty to me, I also retaliate with cruelty. That person treats me with anger, I retaliate also with anger. That's the That's a habitual response, not natural, habitual response. That's what we call not habitual, it's an impulsive response. But what would be the ideal response? A two-step response. If I can step back and remind myself, even though this person is outwardly behaving in this manner, what is the true nature of that person? I am sure that there were some moments when that person may have behaved kindly with me. I am sure there are some moments likely going to be there. Even if 99 times the person has been unfair to me, one time the person must have been fair to me. And that is the true nature of that person. This 99 is not the true nature, that one time is the true nature. If I can step back and remind myself that this is not the nature of this person, this person is helplessly so, helplessly angry, helplessly aggressive. In fact, inherently, the person is accommodating, person is kind, person is loving. If I bring that in my mind, with our boss, with difficult people. Poor boss is always considered a difficult person, doesn't have to be, but usually. Spouse is a difficult person, boss is a difficult person, colleagues are difficult persons, neighbors are difficult persons, But formally, mother-in-law is a difficult person, brother-in-law is a difficult person. Doesn't have to be usually or often. But all those persons are inherently that kind, loving people. And therefore, it is only proper for me that I am kind to them and not retaliate them in an impulsive manner. But then I go to my own nature. What is Swadharma here? Swadharma in every situation is what? Being a kind person. What is Paradharma? Being a impulsive person, a retaliating person, tit for tat. That is called paradharma. It's difficult. But this is how teaching of Bhagavad Gita becomes relevant to us in our life. Because a person who is impulsive, a person who retaliates, that person can never enjoy peace of mind. Very stressful life, very stressful relationships. And the human beings, most of the unhappiness comes from relationships. A relationship can be the primary source of our happiness, and it can also become the primary source of unhappiness. So Shreyan Swadharma. Therefore, we can start, charity can start at home. Meaning that, yesterday we talked about the act of kindness. Means just be a kind person. And begin with home. Charity, begin with the closest people. Begin with the difficult people. So yesterday I gave the example, fake it till you make it. Act as though you are kind. Offer a rose flower to our boss, who is a difficult person. Go and make an offering. In the beginning you will offer like this because you don't want to offer. That fellow also may receive like that. This is done day in and day out. It's amazing how this has some kind of a magical effect. Because our mind is a very malleable material. It can be molded. In fact, what our mind is today is the result of our molding. We are what we are because of our own self. Meaning that whatever we are today is the result of what we have done with ourselves. Now what is done is done. But then, the destiny, the future is in our hands. Swamiji, why does it happen to me? This is my prarabdha. So we believe in prarabdha, we believe in destiny. So world thinks that all problems that Indians have is because of destiny. They are all fatalists. You all believe in destiny. Therefore you don't believe in purushartha, don't believe in self-effort. You just surrender, you just give up. We don't. That's a wrong interpretation of what Gita teaches. Gita always teaches purushartha. Tasmad yudhyasvarda. Lord Krishna never said you give up your action. Therefore perform the right action, not action, right action. Gita does not only teach to perform action, perform the right action. What is right action? An action performed out of the spirit of kindness. But Swamiji, now you come to Arjuna, the worst case. We always take the worst case. Whenever we talk, Swami, how about the terrorists? They always talk of terrorists, Talk of you and I, Forget about terrorists. They will take the worst case scenario. But let us talk of worst case scenario here. Arjuna is in fact confronted with a duty where he is required to even kill his enemies. Kill those people who stand for adharma. Is it possible to be a non-violent person even while fighting a battle? Is it possible? Is it possible that a person can fight a battle in a non-violent way? See, non-violence is a primary value. Understand that every value needs to be interpreted in a given situation. So many people have this conclusion that when Lord Krishna asked Arjuna to take up the arms, rise and do your duty, Lord Krishna is teaching violence, asking Arjuna to fight and kill. Is Lord Krishna teaching violence? So there is a very important verse in the second chapter of the Gita. Lord Krishna does say, Tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Tato yuddha yujyasva. Naivam papam avapsasi. Even if you fight a battle, you will not incur any sin, meaning that if you are violent, it incurs sin. So what is violence and what is non-violence? Is the given action called violence, or the attitude behind the action is called violence or non-violence? Is the attitude with which we do things is called non-violence or violence? If a surgeon takes a knife and pierces in my stomach, it is not violent, a lot of blood is lost. It is not violence. Because what is the attitude? Attitude is to help me. Sometimes they amputate one limb of the body. If you look at simply that action, in isolated action, looks very cruel, is it not? You are cutting the limb of the body. They amputate legs and stuff like that. Looks like very cruel. Is it cruel or not? Is it violence or? Because that is done for the health of the entire body. So sometimes in order for you to be kind to the entire body, you may have to be cruel to one part of the body. You see what I'm saying? So the kindness or cruelty is not to be determined from the form of the action, from the attitude behind the action. So Lord Krishna teaches that attitude to Arjuna. Tato yuddha yujyasva. Here Arjuna, first of all, Bring this attitude in your mind and then you commence a battle. What should the attitude in the mind before you start fighting? Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddha yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Tato means thereafter. Krutva, having done this, sukha dukkhe same krutva. In your mind, first of all, make sukha and dukkha as equal. Pleasure and pain is equal to you. Labha labha, the gain and loss is equal to you. Jaya jaya, the victory and defeat are equal. Make them equal in your mind. Same krutva meaning that make them equal in your mind. Make victory and defeat as equal. The gain and loss as equal. The pleasure and pain as equal. Is it possible? Can gain and victory be equal? Victory is victory and defeat is defeat. Is not. Can they be equal? Swami, I failed in my test. How can we equal that I pass? That totally opposite things. Victory and defeat are opposite, is it not so? They are called mutual exclusive, meaning where victory is, defeat is not there, where defeat is, victory is not there. Labha, labha. Labha means gain, alabha means loss. Gain is gain. Loss is loss. Like two sides of a coin, totally opposed to each other, is it not so? How can you see them as equal? Lord, same krutva. Make them equal in your mind. Sukha dukkhe same krutva. May the pleasure and pain be equal to you. You know what it means? It does not mean that Arjuna doesn't want victory. What Lord Krishna means is that may victory and defeat be equal to you. Meaning that may you fight this battle not for victory, for performing your duty. And whatever outcome your duty brings, be willing to gracefully accept the outcome as it comes. See, you understand this subtlety of this statement. Fighting battle is the worst action you can do. If you can practice non-violence there, you can practice it anywhere. So Lord Krishna teaches what is the nature of non-violence even in fighting a battle. Non-violence is a state of mind, an attitude of the mind. What is violence? If you are fighting for victory, where victory is important to you, where outcome is important to you, in all probabilities you are going to compromise the quality of action. You know, when they play the soccer games, international cups, big soccer players, when the referees are not watching, you know what they do? He butts his head, his knees, meaning that they take any opportunity that is possible to break the law in order to hurt the other person, to win that match. When winning is important, then the rules do not remain important. Honesty does not remain important. Your kindness does not remain important. Win becomes important. You know, the bottom line, corporations working for bottom line, that bottom line is important. It does not matter what means you employ. Fortunately, the law and order situation in this country is so strong that you cannot violate, but otherwise we will. Where the traffic patrolman is not there, then we can always take the liberty. We will take liberty. Even though the posted speed limit is 65, if no traffic patrolman, then go 70, 75, 80, 85. All of a sudden you find everybody slowing down. Then you know that some fellow is there, somewhere in the corner. So everybody becomes very obedient. And 65 miles an hour they start driving. Then you know that traffic patrol must be around. Moment his jurisdiction is over, people zoom. Meaning that violating the law is a natural, habitual tendency in us. Because following the law always requires self-restraint. It requires self-control. It requires self-deprivation. That you are following the speed limit of 65 miles an hour and see other fellows driving merrily at 75 miles an hour, and then you follow law, but inside you feel, look at these fellows are getting away, you know. It hurts me. That's why I want to also do that. So, self-restraint, self-control very often also amounts to self-deprivation. That when I drive according to law at 65 miles an hour, then I deprive the benefit that I will gain by driving at 75 miles an hour. Is it not so? Meaning that following the law always amounts to a deprivation of what you can get away by violating the law. This is the complaint that everybody has. Swamiji, these fellows, they follow your advice and they will be ruined. In this world, the only fellows who can get ahead are the fellows who are aggressive and those who violate the laws, and other fellows, they always finish the last. So this person writes in a book that he was going through his residency in medical school. I think he was studying for psychiatry or something. And that is OPD, I mean, then the patients come and you meet with, see them. So more patients you see, more experience you get. So he wanted more experience. Therefore, even though he was not required to work beyond 5 o'clock, he could officially leave his duty at 5 o'clock. Whoever patients are there, they have to go home because this is a time limit. But since he wanted to get more experience, he would never accommodate patients and stay up to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock and see more patients. Because he wanted more experience. But then his wife would always complain, look at your friend, he's also going through residency, and look at him, he comes home at 5 o'clock, then they go out for a movie, they go there, and then, so this fellow, inside he felt, that see, I am deprived of going to movies, spending time with my family, this, that, all these kind of complaints were there. He went to his boss, said, look, doctor, these fellows are going home at 5 o'clock and you're having nice time, and look at me, I'm working so hard and therefore I have to put up with this. His boss must be an enlightened person. He says, well, Steve, this is your choice. You have chosen to get more experience. You cannot do that unless you sacrifice something else. Meaning that we cannot do one thing unless we let go doing something else. Because we cannot simultaneously do two opposite things. I cannot follow the law of driving at 65 miles an hour and also drive at 85 miles. I can't do two things simultaneously. Meaning that self-restraint, self-discipline also more often than not requires self-deprivation of what other fellows are getting away with. It's difficult. But that's called dharma. Shriyan swadharmo viguna. You follow your dharma, follow the values. This is simple law I am telling you. But then values are the laws in our life. The non-violence is value. Kindness is a value. And you may feel that people are violent and unkind, they get away with some benefit, but you have to let go that even though it looks beneficial, hey Arjuna, is not beneficial, it is hurting you. If by being a cruel person or aggressive person, if you get away with some benefit, it's not a benefit. Ultimately it hurts you more than helps you. Because you are acting against your nature. And when we act against our nature, it only creates conflicts. It only creates stresses. It only creates unhappiness. So Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, Sukha dukkhe same krutva. Arjuna, so if you fight for victory, then in all likelihood you are going to violate the law, because victory is important to you. When outcome becomes important, then the dharma gets compromised. Dharma means performing action in the right manner, doing what is right. There are two choices, doing what is right and what is convenient. What is right and what is convenient. And so what is convenient is nobody is watching, let me take this liberty. So we take liberty whenever we can. When nobody is watching, we take liberty. Thank God that there are no closed circuit TV cameras in our home. So nobody knows what the Swami is doing inside. Outwardly, I may present myself in a certain way. Inwardly, nobody knows. Meaning that when nobody is watching or when I am by myself, I can take all the liberty. Similarly also, when the hands of law is not there, when values are not there, dharma is not there, we can take all the liberty. We think that taking liberty is very clever, very smart. These fellows are called smart. Other fellows are called nerds, whatever they are called. The different words are there. But that smartness is not, that worldly smart is not spiritual smartness. Because in that we are sacrificing some part of our own peace of mind. We are sacrificing part of our own nature. In that way, compromising our own happiness, our own real success. So therefore you fight the battle all right, but not for victory, for the cause. So victory is not the cause. For Arjuna, fighting this battle, victory is not the cause. What's the cause? Dharma is the cause. Protecting dharma is the cause. Therefore that battle is called Dharma Yuddha. So Lord Krishna says to Arjuna at one point, Swadharmam abhichavekshya na vikampitu manasi dharmyadi yuddha shreyonyata kshatriyasya na vidyate. Arjuna, looking at your dharma, swadharma of a kshatriya also, na vikampitu manasi, you should not become disturbed, agitated. Because you are in a very unenviable position that you are a kshatriya, and for a kshatriya to gain an opportunity to fight for the cause of dharma is the most valuable opportunity. Kshatriya, that's kshatriya's dharma is what? To defend dharma. As our Bada Swami used to say, active resistance against evil, meaning that the kshatriya's job is that evil has to be wiped out, then only society can be protected. So when fighting the battle, not victory is in mind. What's in mind? Dharma is in mind. Not gain is in mind. What is in mind? Dharma is in mind. Not pleasure is in mind. What's in mind? Dharma is in mind. Meaning that in the process of following dharma, if you lose this battle, gracefully accept it. Meaning that be ready to gracefully accept whatever outcome comes, because you are performing the action not for the sake of outcome, You are performing the action for the sake of being the right action. That is you are a contributor when you do what is right. When what is convenient, a consumer. Do what is right, a contributor. Doing what is convenient, a grabber. Doing what is right, a giver. We don't have to go out to the world to become contributors. Just do what is right. In every situation we have a choice of doing what is right and what is convenient. What is right and what I like. Very often what is right is not what I like. And what I like is not what is right. Because I always like pizza. Swami, that's no good for you because then my stomach has its own problems. My palate is one thing, stomach is a different thing. So this Swami is invited to a Viksha at night and 10 o'clock, 10:30, it gets pretty late. Hosts are very kind, they have cooked very great food. All, sambar and idli and this and that. And sambar, in the South Indians, they always have tamarind and all that stuff, you enjoy that. Except 4 o'clock I wake up in the morning with all acidity and vomiting, etc. Because what you like may not be good for you. I'm not saying that what you like is never good for you, but very often what we like may not be right. We have to see. What I like is one thing. Is it right also or not? If there is a choice between what I like and what is right, what should I choose? What is right. But Swamiji, I don't like it. Do even whether you like it or not. In that way, we slowly overcome our impulses of doing what is convenient, of doing what is right, of taking liberty. And that's how we bring out, we say, happiness has to be brought out, to be made manifest. This is a way of manifesting my own goodness and happiness, which is the inherent nature. So Lord Krishna says how to fight a battle non-violently? By giving importance. Shreyan swadharma vigunaha. Fight this battle with the cause of dharma. There must be a cause in our life. The duty is the cause. This mundane thing should not become the cause, the right thing should become the cause. Duty should become the cause. Being a contributor should become a cause. So that's the process of becoming a happier and happier person. You may not become a wealthier and wealthier person, that also will become. There's no rule that just because you are honest you cannot be wealthy. That we have concluded, Swamiji, fellows who are honest are always failures. No, that's not so. I don't know why people have this conclusion that honesty never pays. In fact, British people always, honesty is the best policy. They have already discovered that honesty alone pays in a long run. Dishonesty may pay in a short run, honesty may pay in a long run. So then there are two choices. What is the choice? Short-term gain, long-term pain. Dishonesty, short-term gain, long-term pain. Honesty, short-term pain, long-term gain. These two choices are there. So be wedded to dharma. What is the right thing to do, whether you like it or not. In that way you change your mind. By deliberately doing what is right, in course of time the mind also starts liking what is right. Right now it doesn't like. Right now the mind likes what is convenient. But if you make the mind do constantly what is right, what is right, what is right, you start liking. Like our Puja Swamiji. Many years ago, Swamiji did not like this vegetable called Karala, bitter gourd, because it's bitter. Nobody likes bitter. And the way Tamilians cook this bitter gourd is really bitter. The way Gujaratis cook, then you don't even recognize it as bitter gourd, because they add so much jaggery and stuff like that, the bitterness all goes away. But the way Tamilians cook, it's a real bitter. So sometimes there was Swamiji, when we're having meals together, somebody gives from his plate something, don't give me that one, gives prasad. But what prasad? What he gets is, Because he had diabetes, so they would always serve him all this bitter gourd and stuff like that. He didn't like it. Once, many years ago, what happened is, he had a series of talks, 15 days, morning and evening talks in New Delhi. And the first evening, then he's invited to Viksha, lunch and dinner, lunch and dinner, lunch and dinner. And the Indian host always wanted to do the best and please the Swami, naturally. So always inquire, what does Swamiji like? But anyway, the first hostess, she did what a Tamilian lady, she cooked whatever best she knew. She cooked 3-4 vegetables and many things she cooked. One of them was this bitter gourd. So it is served. Usually Indians don't ask, they just serve, they give you. It is Western people ask, would you like it? Would you care for it? And that time I said, no, I have a chance. Here there is no chance. They just put it in a plate. So Swami said, now bitter gourd is there, what should I do? His principle was, do the unpleasant first. Because dessert must be at the end. Children want dessert first. No, you can't get it. The pleasant is always at the end. Do the unpleasant first. This is the principle. So let me finish this bitter gourd. Then I can enjoy the rest of the food. So he finished that bitter gourd first. And of course the hostess is watching, So Swami likes bitter gourd. Don't wait to ask another helping. Now Swamis are not supposed to say, I don't like this. That is, that's not part of the thing, You like it, Swami? Yes, it's beautiful, wonderful, So he finished second helping of bitter gourd, hoping to enjoy the rest. So like this, he had 2 or 3 helpings of bitter gourd that evening. That evening was over. But that episode was not over. Because next day, the lunch had to go some other place. That lady would check with the previous hostess and ask, what does Swamiji like? So she likes bitter gourd. And so a message is already conveyed to the next place. And whether he likes it or not, this bitter gourd waiting for him. And since he likes it, therefore they always serve him. 1 helping, 2 helping, 3 helping, 15 days morning and evening, bitter gourd, 3 helpings. But one transformation happened. He started liking bitter gourd. This is how it is. That's how our mind is. Even unpleasant things also, you keep on doing it again and again and again. A time comes when the mind becomes comfortable with it and starts liking it. Similarly also, doing what is right is like bitter gourd. And doing convenient may be like rasgulla, But you do what is right and you don't like it. Do it again and again like that bitter gourd. In course of time, you start liking what is right, then you have achieved the real success in your life. Because then there is no conflict. As long as I do not like what is right, there is a conflict. I have to restrain my mind. Self-discipline is involved. And I must put up with whatever pain comes in doing what is right. But I am determined, then slowly and slowly the mind also changes, gets transformed. This is called the process of self-transformation. That's the way we change ourselves. We make ourselves, so all these demoniac tendencies have no scope when I am wedded to the divine tendencies. They always want to control me, but I do not allow them to control. I assert my divinity, my kindness. Even the other person is not kind to me, what is my value? My value is to be a kind person. Charity begins at home. And thus, meaning that people who are close to us will give us enough opportunities to follow all values, because so there is most challenging thing there. In that way, this is the process of bringing about inner transformation. And therefore, it is a process of a journey towards discovering true happiness. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Shreyas and prayers. What is prayers? Short-term gain, long-term pain. What is Shreyas? Short-term pain, long-term gain. But we can do this provided we have a clear understanding of what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. First step is a clear understanding of what the basic principles are in the life. Second step is the conviction that yes, this is what I want to do. That conviction arises provided we have the clear understanding. If you are not clear, then conviction doesn't stay too long. Therefore, clarity of understanding is very important. Therefore, study is important. Studying Bhagavad Gita, the study group, vichar groups, whatever they are, and classes and listening, etc., is important. So, Vedanta that says, Paunah Purnena Shravanam Kuryat, you listen to Vedanta again and again and again. But same Swamiji, I have listened to Bhagavad Gita again. Vivek Chudamani again. Some people have listened to Bada Swamiji, one person came and said, Swamiji, I have listened to all Upanishads. I have gone through all the Upanishads. His famous statement is, have Upanishads gone through you? They should go through me. This is typical, Swami Chinmayanji's answers are very typical, like this. So I have gone through all, have Upanishads gone through you? Until then you go through them. They should go through me. So Paunah Punyana, for gaining clarity, this exposing ourselves to the teaching is very important. And a continuous exposure is always better because we get more and more clarity. Even though we may be listening to the same text, it is never the same. Because hopefully by then we have changed. I remember many years ago when Bada Swamiji had the Yajna in Ahmedabad. He was talking on third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, his 10 days talks. The last day he declared, read third chapter 25 times. This is one of the assignments he gave to everybody. I don't know how many followed the assignment. One person is came, Swamiji, I read 25 times. He had all those books, chapter wise. He did 25 times. The purpose is that every time I read, some little change happens. So when I read the same book next time, I am not the same person, hopefully. And therefore it is not the same book. The same book then reveals something more than what it did the first time. Every time I do that, with some change that happened to me, it reveals more and more and more clarity comes. More and more things reveal to me. More and more my understanding grows. Therefore, constant exposure to the teaching is very important for us to understand and gain the clarity. First step is to gain clarity. Then only we can develop a conviction. It must become my value. Not only that the Swami talks about it or Bhagavad Gita talks about kindness as a value, but then when clarity comes as to how it is valuable to me, then it becomes my value. Then a conviction arises that yes, I want to be like that. Because before putting anything into practice, conviction is very important. If that is not there, then when it is become inconvenient, I let it go. So clarity, conviction, and then putting that into practice. That's how we bring about slowly an inner transformation. So we transform ourselves. Our Swami says, you become your own therapist. Meaning, you can transform yourself in this manner in the right direction. On the path of lasting success, lasting happiness. That's what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. And that's how Bhagavad Gita becomes relevant to us in our day-to-day life. Not moment-to-moment life. We can put this into practice. Okay, with this I'll conclude our 3 days talks with a prayer. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.